Episode of the Enstars bracket series, and today we are going to be doing Undead and Akatsuki. So, we actually have 7 moving on for both of these, since both units have 9 songs. And so our contestants, as we can see down here, are going to be Melody in the Dark, Honey Milk to Your Delight. I don't know why this is Honey Milk to Taste. Okay. Destruction Road, Gate of the Abyss, Valentine Eve's Nightmare, Immoral World, Nightless World, Forbidden Rain, and Sustained Memories. So those are going to be our 9 contestants for this, or for Undead at least. And I'm just going to say, Undead used to be my least favorite unit, but a lot, especially lately, I've gotten a lot more into them. And so it was hard for me to let go a couple of these songs, but I will say I am happy with my choices, or at least rather with the results as well, because the results did. This is one of the few times, I believe, where my choices match up with the results. And that's mainly because my 2 other friends who voted didn't really care much, since the only Undead song that they knew was Melody in the Dark. That's about it. I don't even know if they've heard any other Undead songs. I mean, I think I showed them Forbidden Rain, but that's about it. My 3 went to Forbidden Rain, I'm just gonna say that. I'm pretty sure everyone else's 3s went to Melody in the Dark, though. But, like I said, I don't know. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get in. I already mentioned this song, and I said that both of them did this for a 3, so I'm going to go ahead and put this up here, since it's probably very obvious that this made it on there. So, with that being said, Melody in the Dark. I really like the song. I like the callouts. I like how in the beginning they spell out their name. The vocals in this song are especially great. The bridge is pretty good, and I like the music in between to the last chorus. I'm trying to keep these descriptions short, if you can't tell, by just listing off everything. And that's about all I have to say about Melody in the Dark. It's an OG song, it's pretty iconic for Undead, and it's one of the only, I think if not the only song that was featured in the anime for Undead, other than Immoral World, obviously. But that wasn't really in the anime, that was just an ending. So, anyway, next song on this list is going to be from that same album. Even though it was released much later than Melody in the Dark, I still really appreciated this song. And that one goes to Honey Milk wa Okonomide, or Honey Milk to Your Delight. I, once again, don't know why it says Honey Milk to Taste, because I was going to say, okay, maybe it's going based off of the presumptuous translations of the songs, but that wouldn't make sense, considering it says No Saki March right here for this one. And so I don't quite understand that, especially since they released it on EN so they could give the official translation. So I guess I don't know why they did that, but yeah. Once again, I'm going to mention that I did not create this bracket. Well, I mean, I created the bracket itself, but I didn't create this tier list by any means. So I only just added the songs on here from the already created tier list onto this tier. The songs were already pre-listed on here, so I did not make this, and unfortunately I couldn't find any crediting for whoever did make this, so that's a bit unfortunate. But I'm going to be using this for a few different ranking systems I have planned in the future. I already mentioned a few episodes ago that I already had one, but I didn't ever end up using it. So, next up on this list, wait a second. Hold on, I just realized something that I messed up on. In the last episode, Rainbow Stairway was supposed to be ranked. I just saw it down here, and I was like, wait, this should already be ranked. So, let's go over that real quick, because that was supposed to be in there along with Kiseki, Walk With Your Smile, Surprising Thanks, Stars Ensemble, Fusionic Stars, and In Love's Crossroads, I Want to See You Again. That should already be on there. So, with that being said, Rainbow Stairway did make it up there. Yeah. That's weird. Anyway, Endless V-Day's down here. There should be another one down here. What is it? Wait, what? What else didn't make it? Ensemble Taiso, where's that? Right here. You can come down here with the other ones. And also, now that I cleared off the round 0, which are the ones that didn't make it, aka the JP songs, or the solos, or whatever, and I'm now moving the ones that didn't make it from the previous episode onto here. And so these were the ones from last episode that did not make the cut, unfortunately. Anyway, with that being said, we have these songs on that list. Be the Party Bee, Paranoia Street, Endless V-Day, Ensemble Taiso, Genuine Revelation, and Death Game Holic. These are from the last 2 episodes, not including this one, like the previous 2 episodes. But anyway, Rainbow Stairway should be up there. Moving on, I don't really have much to say about the song. Honestly, I never really got super into the song. I mean, it's rare, since we don't really have any other songs besides Ensemble Taiso by Jin and Akiomi, at least on EN, or actually not even on JP, just in the game itself. There's a few other ones, like I know Sentimental Liars is one, but that's not actually like a release. I mean, it's released, but like not on the song list, if that makes sense. And I really hope we get some of those released eventually. And I hope we get more than like a 3-star for JNA. Because we have like one 2-star and we have like 2 3-stars, I think. But that's like it. And I think one of them was an event limited. I don't remember actually what it was specifically. I'm pretty sure it was one of the SS maps, but one of the main story part 2, which is still SS, but whatever. I think it was part of that, but I could be wrong. Okay, so moving on to the next Undead song, now that we got Rainbow Stairway out of the way. This next song probably used to be my least favorite Undead song, and then it really grew on me. Actually, no, that's not true. There's a specific one that has always been my least favorite, and it did get eliminated. I'm not saying this song is bad, but I just didn't necessarily really like it, I guess. Hold on, which were the 2 that got... okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and reveal one of the ones that didn't make it, and that's the one that I said that's probably my least favorite, is Destruction Road. And I feel like this song honestly gets put down a lot. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, the song that I said I'm going to bring up there used to be my second least favorite Undead song, and then it very much grew on me as of these last few months, so I'm going to go ahead and put it up there, Valentine Eve's Nightmare. I really like the vocals in this song. I like the way that they have the enunciation on the chorus. I really like the lines flow together, especially in the chorus. I like the little bit of, not beat change, but, I guess, I'm trying to think of how, excitement sort of going down sound. It's, it goes from being middle to low, and then the chorus comes up and it just goes right back to high. I don't really know how to describe this other than really that. So this next one's another one that kind of goes with with Valentine Eve's Nightmare in terms of how much I like it. It kind of used to be the same situation. I used to not like it that much, and then it grew on me. And I still like Valentine Eve's Nightmare better, but this song is also going to be put up there, and that song is Gate of the Abyss. I've always really liked this song, well, with the exception of the first couple of times that I listened to it, just because at that point I wasn't really into Undead that much, and now I like a good portion of their songs. Okay, so next up we have, also I've already mentioned that Destruction Mode's eliminated, so let's move that down here. There's still going to be one more that's eliminated. And now for the next 3 on the list, actually, that I'm going to go ahead and say. These 3 are all from music, which now gives the entire score away, but whatever. Forbidden Rain, first off, is by far my favorite Undead song. I love the vocals so much in the chorus. I like the fact that the actual, like, the verses are pretty, like, kind of, I mean, they're always, all of it's pretty kind of jazzy, I guess, but, like, the verses feel more jazzy and less like they're actually full-on singing, but more like almost a talk sing, essentially, even though it is still singing, obviously, and it's not quite what you consider a talk sing, but it's, like, still kind of there, I guess. It's, like, very low singing, that, like, it's pretty low singing, though. Like, to the point where it's really hard to use... I feel like whenever you sing that low, it's really hard to do, like, a full-on, like, singing voice. I mean, to be fair, everyone in Undead does have for the most part, a deep voice, or at least a pretty deep voice. I mean, Koga's is probably the highest on the scale of Undead. Well, actually, Kaoru may be higher. I'm not entirely sure. Kaoru, I feel like, can have a good range. Sometimes he can go deeper, but sometimes he can also be somewhat higher. I don't know. Koga, I feel like, is, like, right in the middle of Kaoru's low and Kaoru's high, so we're going to put them at about the same. But Adonis especially, and Rei as well, but not to the same extent, have very deep voices, and so they just naturally can sing that low, but I feel like for people like Koga or Kaoru, it would be a little bit harder to full-on sing that low without breaking their vocal range, not vocal range, their, like, vocal, what's the word I'm looking for, like, just their tone or... like, sustenance of what they're singing, I guess. But other than that, I feel like in the chorus, they go up a lot higher, and it just comes on full on and just blows everything that we've seen from the first half of the song out of the water. The bridge is also great, and I know I said I'm going to keep each song description to a minimum, but when it comes to a song like Forbidden Rain that I really love, I'm going to try to keep it fairly, lengthy, I guess, but longer than the rest. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Nightless World grew on me. Like, I used to not really like Nightless World as much. Same with a lot of Undead songs, to be fair. And then this one grew on me, same with a couple others, whenever the special released, as I mentioned, with songs like Noisy Beep and Koyoi Tsuki no Yakata ni Te. With Nightless World, this one grew on me, especially during the special when it released, and now I really like it. It still does not compare to Forbidden Rain, or the next song being Sustained Memories. But it still is a really good song, and unfortunately that means I'm going to move Immoral World down here to the eliminated section. But, actually, you know what, now that all of the other songs are done, I'm going to actually specifically rename this Eliminated. So, with that being said, we have all of the Undead songs already done, and so we may be able to get... Actually, no, we're still going to go for... So next up will be Akatsuki, and our runners for this one are Hyakari o Ran Akatsuki o Zanketsui no Yaiba, Usube Niro no Yakusoku, Matsuri o Emaki, Kengeki no Mai, Gekkamuso, Kurenai no Mai, Akatsuki Iroha Uta, Gekko Kitan, and Natsudori no Uta. Where are all of these? I'm trying to find them. Ah, right here. Okay. Since they're lower, actually next episode I am gonna try to do, Rabbits and the Fusions right here. Actually, I may go ahead and do Fusion if I have time and just do the Shuffles with Rabbits next episode. I might do that. So with that being said, let's start off with Akatsuki. First off, Hyakari o Ran Akatsuki o. This one is probably my favorite out of the OG songs, if I'm being completely honest. I've always loved this song, and it fits Akatsuki so well. I mean, pretty much all of the OG songs do, to be fair, but, like, still. This, and I feel like there are some songs in, like, the music era songs that just are a unit feature that just, like, it's like a regular Undead song, but a complete new take, or not like a complete new take, like a complete new one. Like, take Nightless World, for example. We have Melody in the Dark, which fits Undead perfectly, and then we have Nightless World, which is a Music Era song, and I believe the first Music Era song that was released for Undead, and then just completely changed that and made Nightless World fit Undead so well. And then we have songs like this for Thousand Blossoms Under the Crimson Moon, or Hyakari Ora Akatsuki. We have this, and then whenever we get a song like Konjiki Senya Yume Butai, that's like the same thing. That song fits Akatsuki so well, especially in the Masterpiece MV. I'm not kidding. Same goes for Vermilion, and if I had to think of others on the top of my head, songs like Rakuen Suiho Faith Conquest. I think there's one for like every single unit, which I believe I mentioned. I don't know if I actually mentioned this in a previous episode, or if I was just thinking that. But anyway, like, songs like Suisei Halation and Colors Arise both really fit Ryusei Tai very well. Suisei Halation fits, like, the old Ryusei Tai very well, and then whenever they sort of made the new Ryusei Tai, as you would call it, that's where Colors Arise comes in and makes it a perfect debut song of what you would consider to be the new Ryusei Tai. So, and also I heard there's going to be, like, a new 2-ink, a new Switch, and a new Akatsuki as well, but I don't know when that's going to be. I'm pretty sure the new Switch happens during Tsumugi's unit event, like Tsumugi's second unit event, which is, what is it? Oh my goodness, Wish Upon a Music. I believe that's when that happens. I don't know when the other two happens. I've had to guess the Akatsuki one would happen for Tensho Kagetsu, since that's whenever the other guy that I never remember his name joins in. Anyway, I'm not sure whenever the new Twink happens, but if I had to guess, probably Love Me Monster, since we're getting one like every single unit selection series. If we're getting Ryusei Tai in the third one, we're getting, if we're getting 2-ink in the fourth one, aka the Climax series, that would make sense, especially since we're getting Tensho Kagetsu for the fifth one, and, oh wait, no, Wish Upon a Music is also a part of the fifth one. Never mind. Wait a second. Hold on. I don't know then. Hold on. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's Twin Wedding Vows. Anyway, I know it didn't just happen, so it's not going to happen during Rai Rai 2-ink Illusion. I know that's not going to happen, because I'm pretty sure they've been like that for a while. So the latest it would probably be is Twin Wedding Vows. Unless it happens during, like, Polyphonic World or something, which I don't know which one happened first, Twin Wedding Vows or Polyphonic World. I don't remember. I don't think I was active during the time that Polyphonic World came out, so don't quote me on what I just said. Please let me know in the comments if anything I just said was completely wrong. I'm not sure, to be honest. Anyway, enough of my rambling. Next up, on this list, we have Gekko Kitan, which is, personally, my favorite Akatsuki song, well, on EN. My favorite Akatsuki song is Konjiki Senya Yume Butai, but it's not on EN yet, for like another 3 months, 4 months, something like that. Very unfortunate. Anyway, next up on the, well, actually, I forgot to actually talk about the song. This was my first event, actually, in-game, and so it was really nice. So, in terms of milestones, this was the first event that I actually was in-game whenever I started. Whenever I joined, it was, like, in between the Exceed event and Gekko Kitan event, so I think I saw that the Exceed event existed, but I couldn't do anything about it, and I also didn't know what the heck I was doing, so, because I did not download Ensemble Stars because I saw something different about it. I just searched rhythm games on my app store and found Enstars. I'm not even joking. I knew absolutely nothing about the game when I found this game, and I didn't realize how big it was until I downloaded it. And I was already big on Japanese music from that point because I had listened to some anime-related songs, like Hotaru no Hikari, for example. I don't know why that one popped up in my mind. That's not even close to my favorite one, but whatever. Anyway, this is the first song by far. Or not, why did I say by far? It's not like you can have by far a first song. Okay. But this, I don't think, was the first song on Enstars that I actually learned. I think the first few that I learned were, actually, I had a list of, like, songs that I learned back whenever I had, like, under 20. Which, now that I'm looking back at it, was interesting. This was, like, a year or two ago. Or I guess it wouldn't be 2 years ago, because that was before I even played. Because I started in, what, like, October, November of 2023, something like that? That's whenever this event came out. I don't remember. I just remember... No, wait, that wouldn't make sense. Wait a second. I remember going on Christmas vacation whenever Forbidden Rain happened. Huh. Anyway. It was either before or, like, at the end of the event. I vaguely remember it being at, like, the end of Forbidden Rain event whenever I went on Christmas vacation, so that wouldn't make sense. Why... Wait, I could just be remembering things wrong. But I also remember Fighting Dreamer being the first Tuing song that I learned. I also remember that I believe my first song for every unit that I learned would be Awaranai Symphonia, Only Your Stars Are Rebellion Star. I don't remember which one I learned first. Ryu Seitai would be Tenka Muteki Meteor Rangers. Voice of Sword for Knights. I just remember that. I learned most of the OG ones, I think, first, just because of how much I saw them happening in the main story. And so, with that being said, we also have Alkaloid, which I don't remember what the first song I learned from that one. Probably Kiss of Life, but I don't know. I'm trying to think. Eden, I'm pretty sure was the Genesis, because that was the only song from Eden that was in the main story. We have, like I already mentioned, for Tuink, it was Fighting Dreamer. For Valkyrie, it was definitely on Throwing Theater. For Crazy Bee, I think it was Crazy Roulette as well, for the OGs. Well, I know the OG, yeah. And then I know Melody in the Dark for sure. I want to say... I mean, yeah, Gekko Kitan was obviously the first Akatsuki song that I learned, just because I listened to it a lot whenever it first came out. Rabbits, I think, was Joyful Box. Let's see. Knights, I already said, was Voice of Sword. I don't remember the other two. Oh, no, Temptation Magic was definitely the first one. Temptation Magic was definitely the first one. And if we're counting Double Face mixed in with Madara songs, I would definitely say it would have to be... Stippling, I think, was the first one that I learned. Or maybe it was No Name Yet, honestly. I don't remember. I didn't learn I until after No Name Yet. I know that for sure. Anyway. Trying to uplink the video is not working out here. Anyway. So, for the next song on my list is also a music song, so I'm going to put that one in here. Akatsuki Iroha Uta, where is it? Right here. So for this song right here, this one I loved whenever I first heard it, and I think this one was good. I think I paired this one with Matsuri Yoemaki for some reason. I believe it was actually because... I think it was actually because of... Akatsuki Iroha Uta had, like, the slow section... right before the chorus, and then I paired it with Matsuri Yorimaki for whatever reason, because it had the ha, ha, ha right before the chorus as well. I don't know why I paired those two together. I just found those both interesting, and I kind of liked it because of that. Speaking of Matsuri Yorimaki, let's put that up here. Where is it? Festival Night Scroll. Wait, that goes down here. Hold on. There we go. My question is, I don't understand really why it's called Festival Night Scroll. I haven't really looked at the English lyrics, but, like, from what I've heard, I don't know. I mean, I understand the festival part, but, like, yeah. Anyway. This song, I already mentioned, I really like that part right before the chorus, and I think it's interesting how at the end... There's not another chorus. It's just the sa mai odore, and then going straight into the instrumental, and then ends the song. There's no other chorus, and I don't know. I just think that's interesting. At least in the game size. There could be a chorus in the full version. I don't know. Anyway. And I mentioned how earlier I was close to learning Keep Out. This is completely unrelated, but yeah. I mentioned earlier how I was close to learning Keep Out. I have officially learned to Keep Out. Not, like, to the point where I can do it on its own. I still have to have the lyrics, though. But, like, we're still there. And also, if I'm not uploading on this channel, be sure to check out my other channel, JP Rollers. I will most likely be uploading there whenever I'm not uploading on here. And next week especially, I mean, to be fair, I have a lot of premiere videos right now set for next week, since I know I won't be recording any next week, since I will not be at home. And by next week, I'm referring to the 13th, the week of the 13th, even though you probably won't see this video until the week of, considering it's not going to be probably uploaded till then, since the previous upload is premiered for, I believe, Sunday or Saturday. So, I don't know. So the next song on the list is one of the first Akatsuki songs that I really got into. That's not Gecko Kitan, because that's just obvious, considering that was one of the first songs I even listened to in general, honestly. Oh, wait. Oh, never mind. Okay, this has nothing to do with the actual video. I just had a realization, because I had a set number for what song, like, what were the first 20 that I learned, and I had a specific order that I usually sung them in, or whatever, and I just remembered what 7 and 8 were, and those were Gekko Kitan and Forbidden Rain. I just remembered that, and I was trying to remember what they were, and I just had that sense of remembrance. I had, like, a set for what the first 20 that I learned were, for what, where, yeah. Anyway, completely unrelated. But yeah, Usuga ni Iro no Yakusoku, I very much had, like, it was one of the first ones that I definitely grew up. And I really love this song, especially the chorus. I like how it starts out slow and then just goes full into it in the instrumental right after the chorus, and I love it. Next song, the other music song that's currently released, Natsudori no, where is it? Natsudori no Uta, Summer Birds, there we go. No, here. This song, it took me a bit to grow on, and honestly, it took me a little bit longer to learn than I probably, like, should have. Because I tried to learn the music songs as they release, but when it came to Sustained Memories and Natsudori no Uta, it took me a bit, for some reason, and I don't know why. And it took me, same with Relax Paradise right now, it actually took me a bit to learn it, and then as of, like, a week ago, or, like, half a week ago, or whatever, I actually officially learned it, but, yeah. So, anyway, next song on this list, I already put it, Matsuri Maki. So now for the last song up here, we have Kengeki no Mai. This song is probably my favorite single exclamation point era song. Well, actually, hold on. I don't know. Hyakari Ora Nakatsuki is pretty good as well. I don't know. My brain just usually associates new things that I hear and then just, like, makes it really good. And then after a while, it just starts to die down. Like, after I heard a song 100 times, it's still good, but, like, it's not as good as it was whenever I listened to it for the 10th time. Even though I've probably heard this song, like, a ton of time. Like, I've heard Kengeki no Mai probably a good, like, 20 times or so. I don't know. Let's see. By the way, that's it for the Akatsuki song. So, for the ones that are eliminated, where are they? Strike, Blade of Resolve, or Zangetsu no Yaiba, and Gakamuso Kurenai no Mai. Personally, I feel a little bit bad. Well, not bad, but, like, I know if one of my other friends was on here, this song, Zangetsu no Yaiba, would definitely be on here, considering that is her favorite song. And I personally never grew into it, but I'm going to try to invite more people on here later on, at least for the second round. We'll see if we can get more people. Oh, wait, never mind. My voting are already done. For the JP one, I'll try to get people to vote for at least the EN-related songs. Even though, I mean, I could just send them, like, the YouTube link, honestly. But we'll just have to see about that. So, that's it for Akatsuki. Now let's go over the fusion units. So there are 7, meaning I only have to eliminate 1. And so I'm gonna make this fairly easy. This one I feel like most people don't really like. I've only seen a couple people, at least like I said from what I've seen, that actually like really like this song. Some people it's like right in the middle. But for the most part, I see people that don't really like it. So let's get these out of the way, so that way I can actually follow along better. Because I keep losing my spot, and why is Brand New Stars here? Wait, did I not put Brand New Stars? Hold on. Did I not put that on the bracket? Oh no. Oh no, hold on. Did I not put... I'm so stupid. I didn't put Brand New Stars in the bracket. Wow. Okay. That's frustrating. I didn't even think about that for whatever reason. And yet I got songs like the anniversary songs. So I don't really know what to say about that. That's a little bit frustrating. Alright. Well, going into these, we have... I will say, I used to love these songs so much, and the reason I say used to is because that's whenever they came out. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, I've heard them like 100 times, so they're not really super there anymore to the point where I love them. However, even songs like Date Plan A to Z, who I've probably also heard 100 times, I still really love. The shuffle units did it much better than the fusion units, in my opinion. And so it was kind of hard to get rid of most of the shuffle songs. There was only one that I particularly didn't really like, and one that I just thought was okay. And keep in mind, there are not very many songs that I think are okay or don't really like in this game. To be fair, I really like basically all of the songs in this game. And I'm not going to reveal which ones I mentioned, but I will say the one that is eliminated, I'm going to go ahead and say it since there's only one of them, Crossing Heart. This is one of those songs that I just think are okay as well. So, as for the other ones, Majestic Magic, I've always loved this one, and I love the beat map, even though that's unrelated to this video. Pocket ni Uchu, I've also pretty much, I like it. To be fair, I feel like there's not many units that could actually go with rabbits, and so Hamutaro Totoko Uta actually did a good job with pairing it with someone. You would think Ryuseitai maybe doesn't really go well with rabbits because they're all about like being strong and being powerful, but if you really think about it, Ryuseitai is also technically a kids unit, and so it goes well with a cutesy band like rabbits, because they can still show their cute side, even with Ryuseitai. And so I think that's like the only band you could really pair with rabbits and make it a good song. Even though Hamutaro Totoko Uta was a cover, it's still good. And they still made it work really well. Considering if you didn't put rabbits on Hamutaro Totoko Uta, I would have been like, what? Honestly. But Ryuseitai was a good choice on that end. And like I said, feel like it's kind of hard to mix with people like rabbits. Unless you make the song equally work with both, which in my opinion, Pocket ni Uchu feels more like a rabbit song than a Double Face song, if I'm being 100% honest. It does not really feel like it belongs in a Double Face album or discography. Discography. There we go. Words. Artistic Partisan. I love this song from the second I heard it. Not in the same way as I did with Majestic Magic, but I still really like it. Perfectly Imperfect. This, I would have to say, is probably my favorite fusion song. I'm not sure. But anyway, talking about the mixing, I didn't even mention that for Majestic Magic. For Majestic Magic, I think this song works really well for both units, if I'm being honest. Artistic Partisan, I think it works well with both, but I still feel like it works better with Valkyrie than it does with Alkaloid. And Perfectly Imperfect, I 100% agree that this fits both units very well. I actually pair these units together in a lot of different ways whenever I do things, like right now in this video, Akatsuki and Undead. Wow, what a coincidence, right? No. I did that on purpose, because I didn't want to pair together two units that don't really go together, like Undead and Rabbits. I figured I would do Rabbits on their own, along with something like Shuffle units, because, yeah, it's kind of weird to go from Rabbits to something like Akatsuki, which are basically polar opposites. Actually, no, Undead and Rabbits are more like polar opposites, unless you count something like Sustained Memories, which is a slower Undead song. Now, Seishun Emergency, I think, also works really well for both, but if I'm being honest, I feel like one of the only reasons that they put these two together is because they're the only two units that have 5 members, so I think it would be interesting to have pretty much the only time that you have 10 members in one song. And so I feel like that's the only reason they did that, is because this would be like the only opportunity they really get to do that. Their vocals still work really well, don't get me wrong, because most of the members on both ends have fairly high voices. We have people like... the only person in Knights that has really a deep voice, I guess you could consider, is Izumi, but he can still also go really far on the high side as well. And Tsukasa has... You could consider it a deep voice in terms of, like, vocals, but he still has more of a nasally tone, making it a little bit higher. But for people like Leo or Ritsu, they just have a higher voice, especially Leo with that Will Be Nights line. Ritsu has a slightly deeper talking voice, but his singing voice is fairly neutral and or a little bit higher. Now on Ryu Seitai, we have people like Kanata who are very high. Tetora and Chiaki are on the lower side, especially Chiaki, but Tetora has more of a nasally voice, and so his voice can work well with people like Tsukasa, especially. I don't actually know if Tetora and Tsukasa sing together in Seishun Emergency, but if they did, I can see that working really well together, honestly. And then we have people like Shinobu, which have a very unique voice compared to the rest. And I'm not saying Kanata's doesn't, because I didn't say that for Kanata, but I feel like it's kind of hard to... I wouldn't say it's hard to pair with, actually, but I say it's a little bit harder than the rest. Now, for Kanata, what I've noticed with a lot of songs is that they tend to mix Kanata underneath everyone else. And so his voice is a little bit quieter, I guess, or less noticeable than the rest. If you take a line from Relax Paradise, in the chorus, there's a line with Tetora and Kanata singing together. You can barely hear Kanata whatsoever. Like, whenever I heard that line, I could really only hear Tetora, and the only reason I guessed Kanata was also in that line before I actually saw it was with Kanata was solely because of the fact that I know that they mix him underneath it fairly well, and because I also saw Chiaki and Shinobu in the other line, and I knew that was both of them. But whatever. And I know I'm talking about a lot by Seishun Emergency, so let's move on. Lemon Squash Cheers. Oh, also, Seishun Emergency, I think, was the first, fusion unit song that I actually saw was released. Now, Perfectly Imperfect, I feel like was released while I was playing. I just didn't notice it being released, because I guess I didn't really know that other songs were released as a live fest songs at that point, and I only thought songs were released in unit events, and so I didn't really pay much attention until I saw in the inbox that Seishun Emergency was going to be a song now, because at that point I knew a little bit about the game, whereas I feel like Perfectly Imperfect was not something that I realized got released at that point. And as I mentioned for Lemon Squash Cheers, I feel like is interesting because you don't really see people like Twink and Crazy D coming together because of how different they are. Now, I feel like their beat map style is kind of similar they do a little bit of, like, wild things with the beat maps. And especially with Love Me Monster, which I literally just found out about yesterday, and I played it today, and now I can say officially that Love Me Monster is my favorite beat map in the game. Just because of how crazy it is and how unique it is compared to everything else. The only time we really ever see Crazy Beat and Two-Ink together is in the nightclub storyline, which I was not here for, but yeah. And so I kind of was surprised to see these two together, and I don't really know if it was because these were the only two units that they didn't do anything with. But personally, I feel like Two-Ink and Double Face could have gone well together, just because of the fact that they're two people each, and so they could do duets like that, cross duets. But I feel like they wouldn't do that because together they still make 4 people, and so that wouldn't really go for the uniqueness of a fusion song, just because it doesn't have more than 5 people, so I feel like they wouldn't do something like that. However, Crazy Bee, on the other hand, might honestly work. I don't really know if they go well with Double Face, if I'm being honest. Actually, hold on. No. In terms of vocals... Oh, wait, never mind. Crazy... I just completely had a brain fart and forgot that Kohaku is on both of them. But honestly... What if they did... I think it would be interesting to have something like that where they starred together and with, like, just like, have a Crazy Bee X Mam, or Mom, or however you pronounce it, because I've seen, like, 5 different ways to pronounce it. Please correct me in the comments. I don't know. I see things about the pronunciation of that unit everywhere, so like I said, for now, I'm just going to call it Madara. Anyway, I think if they did some sort of collab with that, having Crazy Bee and Madara together, and then having sort of, like, a Double Face reunion... Although, technically, in the Fusion unit, it wouldn't be really a reunion, because, you know, Double Face was still together. And even in EN, they still technically are together for, like, another couple of weeks. And by the time this video is released, it'll probably already be time for that event to happen, so I don't know. I'm not really spoiling anything, unless people watching haven't seen that story. But, yeah. Anyway... just gonna say right now, I just personally think that it would be cool if they did something like that, just because Kohaku is on both of them. But if Kohaku wasn't on both of them, and say Kohaku had a mysterious, like, identical twin or something, we'll say that, if Double Face and Crazy Bee did something together, I think it would be interesting, because we have half the members being a fairly deep voice, and then even though Madara can do a higher voice, but his natural voice, especially his talking voice, is fairly deep. And then the other half is, like, a higher voice. Because we have Kohaku and Nikki on Crazy Bee with higher voices, and Himeru and Rine with lower voices, like I mentioned in the Crazy Bee video. And so I just think it's interesting how they're doing that. But with that being said, that comes to the end of the... Fusion Unit series, and so now we will be ending the video here because this video is already getting pretty lengthy. And so next episode I'm going to be doing Shuffle units as well as rabbits. And then in the last episode, or I guess not in the last episode, but I will probably do a video with, yes, so I'm going to combine Madara with Double Face in a section together, and then I'm also going to do Switch. So I'm thinking of doing both of them. I don't know, because I have a lot to say about Knights personally, so I don't know if I want to do a video solely about them, or whether I want to do a video solely about Double Face and Madara, just solely because I see them, like, because they have a lot of differences. So I'm not sure whether I want to do that. Switch is definitely going to take part in one side or the other. I'm just not sure how I'm going to do this yet. But with that being said, I'd like to thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time for another episode of the Enstars Bracket Series. Bye-bye.